Does Keyshawn beat Tank?
Keyshawn beat everybody. Him and Shakur. They can beat up everybody else.
However, if I were pushing Keyshawn, I would have another fight or two before I fight Devin, just for experience purposes. And if I was Devin, I would try to jump on it right now before he gets those couple fights, because the more experience he gets, the harder he's gonna become to beat.
The reason I embarked on this whole thing that I just went into is because he reminds me of Stevenson a little bit, Davis. Their styles are similar. They control the outside with the jab and counters. Good defense. Play it safe.
If you're not scared, it just makes yourself look scary.
So you're saying he should have just ate, didn't care about the next weigh-in?
Devin Haney is scared, and everyone in boxing can see it. While Keyshawn Davis has been calling him out, begging for the fight, and even showing up at iconic movie locations just to get his attention, Haney keeps hiding behind his father and making excuses. This isn't just some random call-out anymore. This is a rising star exposing a former champion's reluctance to face real danger. And the deeper you look into this situation, the more obvious it becomes that Haney knows exactly what kind of problems Davis would bring to that ring.
Right back at the top of his game, Devin showed that the weight loss was probably causing him to not have as good punch resistance, and it also probably wasn't causing him to have as much power or explosiveness as he has. He showed tremendous power, tremendous punch resistance in that fight against Norman, and for him to do that means that the weight was probably an issue. Now, if Keyshawn comes up, or if they even do a catch weight, a 143, 144, it's gonna be a very interesting fight, because I think Devin has more tools and more IQ right now, but Keyshawn is different. So when you got a guy that's different, and that's why I also said that he's not just back, he's different. You understand me? So when you got a guy that has that intangibleness about him, where he can be a different guy when it's time to be a different guy, you can never count it.
Roy Jones Jr. just dropped some serious knowledge about why this fight terrifies the Haney camp. He's talking about Devin's weight struggles, his hesitation patterns, and how Davis's unique style creates the perfect storm of problems. Jones knows what he's seeing because he's been there. When a fighter starts making excuses about weight cuts and avoiding direct communication, that's not strategy. That's fear. And Davis represents everything Haney doesn't want to deal with right now. We're talking about a guy who moves like water, hits like thunder, and has the kind of ring IQ that makes experienced fighters look foolish. Jones is essentially saying that Davis has all the tools to expose Haney's weaknesses, and Haney's team knows it.
You know, his daddy didn't know what the hell he was doing. I told you to go chase some goddamn chickens. I told you, you don't need to be able to pick up them feet and punch coming forward without falling the fuck over. Yeah, you fell in. Keyshawn ain't gonna fall in on your ass unless he want to. Yeah, Keyshawn can throw punches as he's entering mid-range and still keep his damn distance. And he can back up out of range if he need to at the same time. He can go backward, forward, side to side, whatever, man, like some damn switches. Yeah, on the 62 Impala, baby. Yeah. Oh, he got that power, too. Oh, he got that power. All that, hey, clinching, hugging and stuff. He gon', I'm telling you, yeah, I already know, Bill, you don't want none of no damn Keyshawn. I know you don't want none. Hey, I know Dev will fight anybody. Dev crazy as hell. Yeah, that boy fight.
Timothy Bradley isn't holding back either. He's praising Davis's skill and confidence while absolutely destroying Haney's team strategy. Bradley sees what's happening here, and he's calling it like it is. The former champion is suggesting that there's genuine hesitation from the Haney side, and when Timothy Bradley questions your heart, that's not something you can just brush off. Bradley knows championship-level boxing, and he's watching Davis move with the kind of smoothness and power that creates nightmares for opponents. The fact that he's openly criticizing Haney's approach tells you everything about how the boxing world views this situation.
Always usually like, oh, the business, man. Like, he showed me amazing love. And Devin Haney was just the one that just act like he couldn't see me, which I knew, like, oh, you probably scared of me. Oh, you probably got something to her. I don't know what it was. But I never seen Bill show me so much love, and Devin didn't. Like, it was always like the same thing, but when it came to me, it was different. But now that is weird, because now it's like, damn. Like, I'm gonna be totally honest. Like, one time on Twitter, like back in, this like a little personal, but like he called me the B-word one time on Twitter. And I'm like, you grown as hell, why you even coming at a kid like that? But I'm like, all right, but I respect you differently now, you know? And ever since then, I just looked at them differently, like, okay, bet. When I get myself in a real opportunity, I'm gunning for y'all, super gunning for y'all.
But here's where it gets absolutely wild. Davis claims that Haney appears genuinely scared of him, consistently ignoring any direct contact and only communicating through Bill Haney whenever fight-related matters come up. Think about that for a second. You've got a rising contender trying to get a fight with a former champion, and that champion won't even pick up the phone. Davis has been trying to reach out, trying to make this fight happen, and Haney treats him like he doesn't exist. That's not the behavior of a confident fighter. That's the behavior of someone who knows they're in trouble and hopes the problem just goes away. Davis isn't going anywhere, though. He's getting louder, more aggressive, and more determined to expose what he sees as Haney's cowardice.
A lot of people feel like maybe Devin hasn't responded to Keyshawn since, you know, the whole... He did say that he'll take Lil Bruh in any order, but
listen, I'm not, listen, it's me. It's me. I'm not paying Keyshawn no attention. You dig? Because listen, every time I talked to him, I told him in his face, I said, you didn't have to fight this fight. You could have talked to me and we could have been making this thing happen, right? He told me, he says, I know. He said, I know. He said, I said, okay, I got you in the DMs. I got the DM on your word on it, right? I said, when you get through fighting, is Devin next? Do you want to fight Devin next? He said, yes. And then he switched over and said he wanted to fight Crocker.
I saw that.
I said, Crocker? I said, oh yeah, I ain't with you. I said, I'm not with you ever again. Now listen. I said, I'm not. I said, no. I said, I'm not with him. I said, no, I ain't with him. Right? He went and did the brick. He did the brick. He went on the tear. I hit him in the DM. I said, do you want him to go?
Bill Haney fires back with his own version of events, claiming that Keyshawn must make the fight happen and that Davis actually declined to continue serious negotiations. But here's the thing about Bill Haney's statement. He's trying to flip the narrative and make it seem like Davis is the one avoiding the fight. That's classic boxing politics right there. When your fighter doesn't want a particular matchup, you blame the other side for not being serious about negotiations. Bill is saying that Davis backed down when it came time to get serious, but everyone watching this situation knows that doesn't add up. Davis has been the aggressor from day one. He's the one calling out Haney publicly, showing up to movie locations, doing everything possible to get attention for this fight. Does that sound like someone who's trying to avoid negotiations?
About what the people want. The people were screaming that Ryan is back, that he had a hell of a performance. He has a belt. He's in the same division. Of course, if we went with Mario Barrios, they first, with our relationship with the WBC, everybody would have said we was cherry picking. You know what I mean? So the only splash that we could make, and just like you said all the time, is they want us to fight the tough competition, but that's why Devin is Debo.
If you fight Ryan, do you need him to be in 24/7, 365 testing? Is that like a no?
No. We just need him to test. It's not going to take 365 days to whip his ass, so we don't need him tested for 365. We just need him tested from now until...
And get this, Bill Haney explains that many fans are demanding a rematch with Ryan Garcia after his recent comeback and title victory. Oh, so now we're talking about Ryan Garcia instead of Davis. That's convenient. The moment Davis starts applying real pressure for a fight, suddenly the conversation shifts to Garcia. That's not a coincidence. That's a deliberate attempt to redirect attention away from the Davis fight and towards something that feels safer for Haney. Garcia already beat Garcia once, sure, but that's a known quantity. Davis is the unknown variable that could completely derail Haney's career trajectory. The fact that they're even entertaining Garcia talk while Davis is right there calling them out tells you everything about their priorities.
Keyshawn or Devin, or fighting Shakur or Devin, or Keyshawn, Devin fighting either one of those guys, that's a turned up fight. Him, Tank, that's all that turned up. Feel me? Them is the fights right there. Them is the crest of the crest people want to see. Turned up fights.
You know, obviously, Bill Haney's get lots of praises for his matchmaking lately. Obviously with the Terrence Crawford and Canelo, and obviously Devin Haney's career, right? But
I think he didn't have no matchmaking with that. I mean, he did put that bug in Crawford's ear, but that's it. How far are we gonna go with that?
I mean, they asked him what made you feel like you could move up to fight,
Yeah.
Canelo, and
But
it's
I,
like,
think, I said he put the bug in his ear.
Bernie Thawboxer is questioning Bill Haney's matchmaking influence, and that's a conversation that needed to happen. Bill has been controlling Devin's career path, picking and choosing opponents based on what serves their long-term strategy rather than what fans want to see. That's smart business in some ways, but it's also exactly why fighters like Davis get frustrated. They see a clear path to a big fight, but they have to deal with political maneuvering instead of just settling it in the ring. Bernie's questioning whether Bill's influence is actually helping or hurting Devin's reputation at this point, because avoiding tough fights only works for so long before people start noticing the pattern.
Guys are champions, unifying on the line, and they've been going back and forth on Twitter the last couple of days. It's been pretty crazy. So let's get into it. We have Ryan first off saying, Haney, if it's time to end you, it's time. You will be erased. I heard you speak in my name. If this is what you want, let's start discussions. Mark my words, you'll never fight again after this. So let that sink in and accept it before you say yes. Not just, hey, I'm gonna smoke you again. Hey, you're not on my level. I'm gonna beat you pillar to post. He said, I'm going to beat you so bad you never fight again. I'm going to erase you. That's the confidence level Ryan Garcia is coming in. Is that because of his performance versus Mario Barrios, or the performance versus Devin Haney, or just a combination of knowing what he did in the Haney fight and knowing how much better he's gotten since? I don't.
Wade Garcia nails it when he discusses Devin Garcia going back and forth with Garcia instead of focusing on a fight with Keyshawn Davis. That's the real issue here. Haney is looking backward at old business instead of forward at new challenges. Davis represents the future of the division, the hungry young fighter who's ready to take everything from the established names. But instead of embracing that challenge, Garcia team keeps talking about Garcia, keeps making excuses, keeps finding reasons why the Davis fight doesn't make sense right now. Plemons sees through all of that. He knows that champions are supposed to face the best available challengers, not spend their time relitigating old fights.
I was gonna be the next one. Yeah, and he did exactly what he said he was gonna do. He was gonna stop Ortiz's ass, and he stopped his ass. Shit, I thought it was gonna be a lot harder than that. He stopped his ass easy. Keyshawn ran through Ortiz. And Ortiz didn't know what to do. Ortiz was like, ain't nothing working. Ain't nothing working. What can I do? Let me switch southpaw. Let me switch southpaw. Bing, 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 bing. Let me go orthodox. Bing, bing, bing. Let me try to get in my rhythm. Bing, bing. Let me try to change guard. Bing, 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 bing. I mean, everything he did, it got taken away from his. And that's the same thing that's gonna happen to freaking Devin Haney. He get in there with Keyshawn Davis. Everything you do. I know your every move, Dev. I know your every move, Dev. Yeah, I do. I do know your every move, Dev. For real. And you don't think Keyshawn know it? Shit, Keyshawn sees it. He see what he can do to get your sons.
Now listen to what Timothy Bradley says about Davis's actual skills, because this is where things get really interesting. According to Bradley, Davis moves smoothly in every direction and has real punching power to support his skill. That's a dangerous combination right there. Bradley points out that Davis predicted he would stop German Ortiz and then did exactly that in dominant fashion. That wasn't luck or a good night. That was a calculated prediction followed by flawless execution. Ortiz tried everything during that fight, switching stances, adjusting his rhythm, throwing different combinations, but nothing worked. Each adjustment Ortiz made was quickly neutralized as Davis controlled the exchanges with sharp timing and surgical accuracy. Bradley emphasized that this kind of ring awareness and adaptability makes Davis dangerous for anyone in the division, including Haney. He's suggesting that the same relentless pressure and tactical sharpness that destroyed Ortiz could create serious problems for Haney, especially since Davis studies opponents carefully and understands their patterns before stepping inside the ring.
Opponents.
Send the contract. You literally seen Keyshawn and Bill Haney agreed to fight each other in person and all this type of stuff, and the fans start getting involved, putting out their own fight predictions, like, yeah, this would happen and I would favor this. You don't see me doing that, and there's a specific reason. I don't waste time. I'm definitely not lazy, but I don't believe in wasted energy. What's the point? What's the point of me wasting my energy and saying 1,000 words? There's 1,000 words that I could say. You know what I mean? get my Justin Timberlake on, Ego Timberlake, saying 1,000 words, and then I never get a conclusion. What's the point of me putting out, if you notice my channel, I don't put out no fight predictions if it ain't a signed fight. What's the point?
The negotiations between Devin Haney and Davis created serious buzz in the boxing world, but despite all the back and forth, the fight never materialized. Both sides discussed terms publicly, and even Davis and Bill Haney reportedly agreed in person that the matchup could happen. Fans got excited, started making predictions, began debating who would win, hoping this rivalry would turn into something official. But here's what's frustrating about modern boxing. Some analysts refuse to invest energy into speculation without a signed contract, and they're probably right to be skeptical. They argued that modern fighters don't generate the same anticipation we saw during legendary build-ups like Floyd Mayweather Jr. versus Manny Pacquiao. According to Davis, Haney appears reluctant to face anyone gritty and aggressive, which explains why this fight keeps getting delayed despite obvious fan interest.
According to Keyshawn, he like, they don't want to smoke. And this is why, like I said, this is why I can't get invested in a lot of these new generations back and forth.
47. The only person I'm going to 147 for is Devin Haney.
Really?
If he just stay at 140, I was going to gun for him too, though. Not going to hold you.
Right. But what about Ryan Garcia? He's a champion with a big name. He just sold out.
He got a lot of speculation around his name right now. I'm not with Ryan Garcia. He got a lot of speculation. Like, shit. I just want things to be.
What do you think about his performance?
It was a good performance, great one, actually.
So, he said if he goes to 47, it got to be for Devin Haney. But the problem is, after this interview was conducted, he talking about calling out Lamont Roach, and he's saying that he ain't heard from Devin Haney. So, somebody got to be lying.
Davis suggested that although Bill previously showed him respect during his rise, Devin's attitude felt distant and dismissive. That's a telling detail right there. Bill recognizes Davis's talent and potential, but Devin himself seems uninterested in acknowledging the threat. Davis even claimed he directly confronted Bill and sought assurance that a fight would follow his victories, yet no formal offer arrived. Think about that from Davis's perspective. He's doing everything right, winning fights, calling out the right opponents, generating buzz, but he can't get a clear answer about whether his work is leading toward the fight he wants. Davis insists he would move divisions only for Devin, which reinforces his confidence and shows how badly he wants this particular matchup. Despite all the public exchanges and rising tension, the proposed showdown remains unfinished business, leaving fans questioning what truly prevented the fight from becoming reality.
Keyshawn the Businessman Davis was just trolling about a showdown with his son, first ballot Hall of Famer, undefeated 3-division world champion, former undisputed lightweight, former WBC junior welterweight, and now reigning WBO welterweight world champion, superstar boxer, who is top 5 pound for pound best fighters in the world, and Devin the Dream Haney. 33 wins, no loss, no draw, 15 wins by way of knockout. Keyshawn Davis, 14 wins, no loss, no draw, 10 wins by way of knockout. Keyshawn is actually, I think he's older than...
But here's where Bill Haney's frustration becomes obvious. He expressed anger over Davis's behavior, claiming that Davis was just trolling his son and never intended to approach the fight seriously. According to Bill, he reached out multiple times to Davis, attempting to start negotiations, but Davis showed no real interest in moving forward. When asked whether he wanted to make the fight happen, Davis avoided giving a clear answer, simply directing Bill to talk to Jay Prince. Bill interpreted this as gamesmanship, feeling that Davis was more focused on theatrics and creating leverage than actually committing to a fight. That's Bill's version of events, but it contradicts everything we've seen publicly from Davis, who's been the aggressor throughout this entire situation.
Bill is saying now that Keyshawn, he's reached out to Keyshawn, and Keyshawn is not showing interest. Ask Keyshawn, do you want to begin negotiating? Do you want to make the fight happen? Say Keyshawn didn't answer. Then he responded to Keyshawn again and said, how we gonna work this out? What you need me to do? And Keyshawn is saying, talk to Jay Prince.
The situation got even more complicated by Davis's recent public antics, including visiting the famous house from the movie Friday, which references Devin Haney's nickname, Dubbo Dev. Bill felt that these theatrics demonstrated a lack of genuine intent, even when discussions shifted to potential fights against other opponents like Lewis Crocker. But here's what Bill doesn't understand. Those antics are actually brilliant promotional work. Davis is keeping himself in the conversation, generating social media buzz, and maintaining pressure on the Haney camp. Bill sees it as disrespectful, but Davis is playing the game perfectly. He's staying relevant while Haney stays quiet. Bill also highlighted the challenges Devin faces in moving weight classes, noting he could rise to 154 pounds for a unification bout and then return to 147, potentially becoming a 4-division champion. That sounds great in theory, but it's also another way of avoiding the Davis fight while making it seem like bigger things are on the horizon.
Reaction to Keyshawn's performance.
He did well, you know, his style.
I can't hear you, Coach. Smash the like button, yo.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, yep.
I said that particular style, Keyshawn remind me of, he looked just like Nigel Benn, Conor Benn's dad.
How so?
The style he was fighting, the way he was, you know, he didn't look like his defense wasn't as tight when he was his previous fights. But he did good. He did good.
Right. You know, obviously a statement win. Jermaine Ortiz never been stopped, but at the same time calls out Devin Haney at the end of the fight.
Regarding the call-out of Devin Haney, trainer Ronnie Ellis shared his candid perspective on Davis taking on such a high-level challenge. Ellis praised Davis's talent and determination, noting that his aggressive approach inside the ring reminded him of Nigel Benn, bringing constant pressure and intensity that can overwhelm opponents. That's a serious comparison right there. Nigel Benn was a destroyer, someone who broke opponents mentally before finishing them physically. If Davis has that same energy, that same relentless forward pressure, then Haney has every reason to be concerned. At the same time, Ellis highlighted that Davis's defensive skills have sometimes appeared vulnerable in past fights, suggesting that while his offensive game is impressive, defensive adjustments would be crucial against an experienced opponent like Haney. Ellis also emphasized the experience gap, with Davis having only 14 professional fights compared to Haney's 33, noting that more experience in 12-round bouts would better prepare Davis for the endurance, strategy, and tactical adjustments required to succeed at the elite level.
I think he should get a couple more rounds in before, you know, he go at Devin Haney. But, you know, if he feel like he can take him, let him get at him, you know? Yeah, let him get at him.
Are you looking at it more like that 12-round experience type deal?
Yeah.
Getting the rounds in?
Get some rounds in, you know? Get some rounds in.
When you listen to the, and then, you know, there's back and forth going with them too. You know, Devin saying that, you know, he would like to fight, you know, the little brother before the big brother. You know, what's your thoughts on that? I think there was a tweet saying that Shakur, I don't want to step on Devin Haney's toes. I'm going to let Keyshawn get Devin Haney. I mean, you know, a lot of people had lots to say about it. They're saying that, listen, they're breaking down the...
After stopping Jermaine Ortiz, who had never been knocked out before, Davis confidently called out Devin Haney. That knockout was a statement. Ortiz wasn't some journeyman or faded veteran. He was a legitimate contender who had never been stopped, and Davis made it look easy. While his boldness impressed many observers, analysts questioned whether the timing was right. The experience gap is real. Facing a seasoned opponent like Haney would test not just skill, but endurance, strategy, and adaptability over 12 full rounds. The difference between 14 fights and 33 fights is enormous at the championship level. Despite his confidence and obvious talent, many analysts believe building more high-level experience would better position Davis for a fight against Haney. But Davis doesn't seem interested in waiting, and that confidence might be exactly what makes him dangerous.
People can't make 40 anymore, just like Jerome Boots Ennis couldn't make 47, and he moved up to 154. Now 54 is cracking. They got 54 out here cracking. Tons of names where you can mix and match the Funduras, the Virgil Ortiz, Jermell Charlo, possibly Errol Spence, Murda Zylev, Boots, right? You got tons of ways you can mix and match these people. 47 right now is dry, so it's going to take Shakur's and the Keyshawns and Gary Antoine Russells or the El Rayos, you know, different Edwin De Los Santos, Matias, different guys to move up to start to purge and like fill out the division. Right now, it's not many options. Again, Devin versus Louis Crockpot is a terrible fight, and I don't know anyone that wants to.
An analyst recently discussed Davis and his confidence in taking on opponents across multiple weight classes. And this is where things get really complex. While Davis shows remarkable skill and belief in his abilities, moving up in weight comes with inherent challenges that can't be overcome with confidence alone. Fighters in higher divisions are naturally bigger, stronger, and often more experienced, which creates a completely different dynamic. Success at a higher weight class requires careful strategic planning, rigorous preparation, and the ability to adjust tactics mid-fight when facing opponents who have physical advantages. The analyst highlighted that Davis's talent is undeniable, but his transition to upper divisions would test his endurance, timing, and ring IQ against more seasoned opponents who know how to use their size and experience effectively.
Can beat him from pretty much 40 to 47, and he says he wants to fight Jermaine Ortiz and then move up to welterweight, which would be perfect because, like I told you, I really am the best in this business. Like, everything I say is like clockwork, right? It's amazing to me. Sometimes I amaze myself. So what am I talking about? I literally just said welterweight is dry. It's a stale, stagnant, horrible division right now. Not too many ways to mix and match the guys. And then the guys you could mix and match are pretty much busy. The Ryans, the Barrioses, and the Rollies, as I mentioned at the beginning of this video. And I told you it's going to require, this is how it works in the sport of boxing. I know because I've been here.
That's it for today's video. Stay tuned until next time.
Here's the kicker though. Each weight class brings different dynamics, including punch resistance, reach advantages, and power levels that can completely change a fighter's effectiveness if not properly accounted for. Davis has shown he can adapt and overcome challenges, but moving up to face someone like Haney means dealing with all these factors simultaneously. The conversation also touched on why this highly anticipated matchup with Devin Haney appears increasingly unlikely to happen. Despite fan excitement and obvious financial benefits, communication issues and logistical hurdles have prevented the fight from materializing. Davis has openly expressed frustration, noting that Haney tends to avoid direct contact and only communicates through his team, which has further complicated negotiations and left this highly anticipated bout in limbo. So here's what we're really looking at. Devin Haney, a former undisputed champion, is being systematically exposed by a rising contender who refuses to go away quietly. Davis has called him out, generated buzz, shown his skills against quality opposition, and maintained pressure despite getting no clear answers from the Haney camp. Meanwhile, Haney keeps talking about other fights, other opponents, other divisions, anything except the hungry young fighter who's right there demanding his attention. This isn't just about one potential fight anymore. This is about whether established champions have an obligation to face the best available challengers, or whether they can pick and choose based on what's most comfortable for their careers. And honestly, the longer Haney avoids this fight, the more it looks like he knows exactly what kind of problems Davis would bring to that ring. So here's my question for you. Drop it in the comments. Do you think Haney is genuinely scared of Davis, or is this just smart business management? Are we watching a champion protect his legacy, or are we watching a fighter expose another fighter's limitations? If this breakdown helped you understand what's really happening behind all the boxing politics, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell because this story is far from over. I'll see you in the next one.